Photoelectric effect, question 1. Copper is illuminated with light of wavelength 2.5 times 10 to the minus 7 meters, and electrons are emitted with a maximum kinetic energy of 3.7 times 10 to the minus 19 joules. What is the frequency of the photons? Well, for this we need to use the equation wave speed is equal to frequency times wavelength. So frequency is equal to wave speed over wavelength. Wave speed is given on the datasheet as 3.0 times 10 to the 8 meters per second, and the wavelength we were given in the question, giving a photon frequency of 1.2 times 10 to the 15 Hertz. What is the energy of these photons? Give your answer in joules and in electron volts. Well, energy of a photon is equal to Planck's constant times frequency, and Planck's constant is 6.63 times 10 to the minus 34 joule seconds, the frequency we found previously, giving an energy of 8.0 times 10 to the minus 19 joules. To convert this to electron volts, we divide by 1.6 times 10 to the minus 19, this is the charge on the electron, giving a value of 5 electron volts. Find the work function of copper in joules. Well, for this we need this equation, that the maximum kinetic energy of the emitted electrons is equal to the photon energy, Planck's constant times frequency, minus the work function phi. So we can rearrange for phi, and putting in the numbers, we've got a photon energy we found previously of 8 times 10 to the minus 19 joules, minus the maximum kinetic energy of the electrons we were given in the question, giving a work function of copper of 4.3 times 10 to the minus 19 joules. What is the threshold frequency for copper? Well, for this we again use the equation that photon energy equals Planck's constant times frequency, and so frequency is photon energy over Planck's constant. The photon energy in this case has to be the work function, and this gives a threshold frequency of 6.5 times 10 to the 14 Hertz. What is meant by the term work function for copper? This is the minimum energy required to release electrons from the copper. What is meant by the threshold frequency for copper? This is the minimum frequency photons must have to enable them to eject electrons from the surface of copper.